Hi, I'm Matt Burns. Today is May 8th, 2025, and it is currently 1:38 Eastern something time. Let's see here. Today, I woke up, I had this dream. I was not sleeping well, and I woke up, and I feel like when you have a hard time sleeping, you end up having more dreams because of the way that, REM sleep and stuff works. But the dream is basically as follows. I'm a private lessons piano teacher. That's not part of the dream, that's just my real life. And so I go to kids' homes and we'll give them lessons on the piano. And there's this one student I have who's about to be in third grade. He's finishing up second grade. And I've had him as a student since he was halfway through kindergarten. And he didn't know how to read very well or anything like that, so I thought I'm just going to give him sounds to hear and sort of show him sounds on the piano rather than have him read from a book or something. So anyways, he's one of my best students, maybe my best student, and he plays everything by ear now. So I'll come over and he'll just be like, oh, I've been there's this song from Elton John that I really want to play, and he's just super creative, and he's very, very good with his ear. And it's kind of I don't know, teaching a little nephew or something. We're really close, and his parents are really cool with me, and yeah, it's a really good time. But anyways, he's at the end of second grade, and I had this dream, right? And I'm going to his house, and I go to his house, and I go in like I do, and I go in, and instead of his parents being there and his sisters being there, he is part of a large foster home, and it's 15 other kids with 2 foster parents who are not paying attention to the kids. The home's in disarray, and then also the boy, even though he's still in second grade, looks like he's deep in puberty. He's got acne everywhere, his hair is greasy, his skin's greasy. It's just weird, and he looked like he was not being paid attention to by his foster parents. And that was all of the dream. I just walked in, I saw him, and I was like, this is weird. And then I woke up. But I found it interesting because I thought it melded 2 of my thoughts I've been having recently together. Yesterday I actually made this video about people's circumstances and us not understanding people's circumstances, and just how we don't really know what people are going through. But when it comes to my student, something I've noticed recently is every time he's worked with me, we have a great time. I just go whatever speed he's going, and I try to use his imagination to build out our lessons, and I try to make it as fun as possible. And as far as it's ever been between us, yeah, he has, I know he has ADHD, and I think it's apparently somewhat, intense. And, but I've always, geared the lessons towards that, and I go where he goes. And, I guess in his classroom setting, it has, translated to him sort of being maybe a little bit, outward acting in class. Maybe he's acting out. And, so I've been trying to pay more attention to him personally in our lessons and stuff. And I can tell, I think a lot of it's because at school he's bored, but also, they're not doing the things he likes to do, and I think he's just seeking attention to some degree through all of that. But I sort of think it connected with this idea of, not knowing what people are going through, and, these rough situations from when I was growing up, and kids in my hometown who didn't have anything and were doing really rough, and, his parents are doing fine, and, I'm sure he's going through stuff at home, but he's not poor, he's not, unfed or unbathed or something like that. But yeah, I just thought it was weird that those 2 things coalesced in my mind. But for some reason, I started thinking about him, and I think I was thinking about my lessons and being a music teacher and all that kind of stuff, and just the type of life that I live now. I'm 25, I'll turn 26 in 6 days, and I kind of just wanted to talk about what it's like trying to chase a dream while trying to be a responsible adult. So I have here that luckily with the type of work that I do, like I have a day job, it's very not much, so I get to do things like this in my free time. I have a lot of free time work and I try to use it well. But afterwards, I have anywhere between 3 and 3.5 hours of lessons I give on the piano every day, so maybe 5 or 6 students on the piano every day, and they're all kids except for one. And I think what that helps for is, like, it does bring in really good money, so it helps fill out what my day job, which I don't get paid much to do because I don't do much. I think it helps fill that out from a financial perspective. But also, I constantly get inspired by kids, like emotionally inspired by kids. You see all these things, that the way that kids think, and of course kids are people, so they think like people, but they think in their own kid way, and it can be really inspiring. And on top of that, there's a lot of musical inspiration. I don't know what it's like for kids that are acting and like learning to act, but they talk about improv and acting. And I do a lot of improv on the piano with my students, particularly the student I had the dream about, but all my students. And they know what good music sounds like because a lot of times their parents play them good music, or everybody gravitates towards good music. And it's not like they're always going to create the best music ever, but to a certain point they don't really have boundaries set and what to do and what not to do. And so when they stumble upon something that you might not do because you have those rules and boundaries and expectations set in place, they do something interesting, and then they react based on what they hear, not what they think. And so a lot of times I get inspiration from that because the thing that I'm not used to, I might not think it sounds good. But this thing that I'm not used to, the kid might think that it's an interesting thing or sounds really cool, and then they can describe how it sounds that way and why they think it's cool. And for me, as somebody trying to write stuff or trying to make up stuff, that is one of the best inspirations I could ever have. Alongside all of this, there's having to actually be functional in life while chasing a dream. My dream being like living a life in music, living a life that is giving people like emotional energy and joy. But I have some of these bullets for creating a functional life around doing that as my dream. The number one thing I have written down is allowing yourself to have time for creativity and for practice. I'm almost 26. Like, I don't think in all ways that I'm like good enough to do the things that I want to do at the level that I want to do them. The good thing about music is a lot of it I can be a student for life, and I can improve in some way for my entire life. Of course, physically I may degrade in some ways as I age, but hopefully intellectually and emotionally I can elevate myself to a place that I can craft my dreams ahead. But I have listed down here, I've been thinking about this for like forever. There's like, think about being a dog sitter. You have all this time during the day. Of course, you're not going to be just like with the dog, doing something with the dog all day, or the dogs or whatever. Even if you're an in-home dog sitter for somebody, you could use that time during the day, like you're making money while you're there, and you could be doing practice and other things like that. Obviously, dog sitting is a very specific job, and there might not be many things you can do like that. But I know my buddy, right out of college, he got a part-time job as the front desk of a hotel, and he like manned the front desk. And he said he would have like hours, because he worked the late night shift. He would have hours of time where he's just not required to do anything. And he said he would bring his guitar there, and he was learning guitar, and he said he got so many hours of practice just being there. So I think if you can find a job like that, of course it's probably not going to pay much because you probably don't need to do that much. But it does give you that time to work on your craft. Obviously, as you get better, you want to try your best to perform and make money from performing, because that's what you want to do. So you're getting practice doing the thing you want to do, and you get to make money from it. I have, in a different color, I have teaching in the field, because I think it just enhances everything. It keeps you in the thing, and it gets you, obviously it pays you, and depending on what you're doing, it can pay you really well. One-on-one lessons with a kid on piano can pay quite well. And finally, I just have living simply, because the likelihood is that, if you're going to survive trying to follow your dream, you pretty much have to be an entrepreneur in some way. And if your entrepreneurial skills are not that great, you're not going to make that much money. You're going to have to figure out how it is that you're going to survive on what you're doing. Underneath, I have written down this sort of just stream of consciousness. Being a responsible teacher means always being a student. Kids move really, really fast in whatever it is that they're doing relative to, what an adult might do. And so if I want to be able to teach a kid for 10 years, I can't just know 10 years worth of content for me. I have to know, I have to be well beyond that, of course. And so these kids are getting so good sometimes, and for you to be responsible enough to teach them, you have to be on your game and figuring out things too. But that's what you should be doing anyways if you're trying to follow a dream. Another thing that I have down is that if you're going to follow your dreams, or if you're really going to do anything successfully in your life, you're going to have to reflect on what it is that you're doing all the time, and you're going to have to reflect on what other people are giving you back, because they may be reflecting, if you have weaknesses in yourself, they're going to tell you your weaknesses somewhere, and you have to be willing to listen, and you have to be willing to look inwardly and figure out how you're going to fix those things, or how you're going to disregard them if you think that maybe they're not right. And finally, I have, are you emotionally available? Because my days, although they're quite easy relative to some people, I am gone oftentimes from my home from 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. And I come back and try to do responsible things like doing the dishes, laundry, blah blah blah. And I'm not perfect at home, and I'm not doing all the things that I need to be doing to keep up the best home. But I also have a girlfriend who lives with me, and I need to be emotionally available for her, because what is all of this worth if I don't have people to share it with, especially somebody super close to me. And I think that when we're chasing a dream, we can often get caught up in the things that we have to do to reach that purpose. But people like LeBron James, if people like LeBron James can make it to the NBA at 18 and have a successful relationship with his now wife and figure out all of those things, granted he's got a lot of money, of course that helps, but he's also on the road all the time, and that doesn't work out for all couples, even if you have tons and tons of money. And but I think that if somebody like that can do it, and if somebody who came from nothing can do that, I think that we can all learn from that and try to do something with ourselves in that regard. So that's about it for what I have and what I've thought. But I had a pretty slow day. I've been really tired. I'm starting to get burnt out. The school year is almost done. I've been working with kids, and I don't end the lessons in the summer, but seeing their summer come around makes me wish I had my own summer still, of course. But yeah, I'm just trying to take it a little easy today and have an easy one so I don't burn out in my dream or whatever. So that's about it. See ya.